realism of harness racing, and it's a pleasure of mine to give Horse Person of the Year to Brian McMahon.
This year, my dad and I chose to nominate Dr. J.P. West, who is a veterinarian from Madison, Wisconsin, who was a prominent owner, trainer, driver, and breeder during the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. To give you some idea of the volume of horses that Dr. West had, we found a sale catalog from a dispersal sale that he had in the 1930s, in which there were 104 horses in the dispersal sale, almost all of which were owned or bred by Dr. West. My dad mentioned this was just one of many dispersal sales that he happened to have. But among the horses that he owned, he was the owner and breeder of McKinney Scott, who was the sire of Miss Pluto Scott, who was the dam of Golden Miss, who was the 1997 inductee into the Wisconsin Harness Racing Hall of Fame. She was also the dam of the prominent Stallion Strikeout. So we nominated Dr. West just for his prolific involvement as an owner, trainer, driver, and breeder in Wisconsin. Unfortunately, no one from the Dr. West family could be here this evening, but nonetheless, we congratulate Dr. West on his induction into the Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah, and congratulations to everybody with Dr. West. We have one more award to give tonight, but I realized we forgot some, so we're going to make you wait just a little bit, Susan. We did get whips for the top 10 drivers donated by WHHA Harness, so everybody that was a top 10 driver gets a whip if they want to come and get one, because otherwise we're going to lose them or auction them. So, and I'm sorry, Susan, for making you stew just a little bit longer.
Very sorry.
Who didn't get one? We got one left. Oh, there you go. I was saying, I know everybody's here. The last award, the last big one, Wisconsin Harness Racing Hall of Fame. Before we start, I do have to talk and say, Susan's been extremely worried ever since we announced to her that she was going to be a recipient of the Wisconsin Racing Hall of Fame about what I may or may not do here tonight. She even so much went to say, you know, Gabe, a Hall of Fame induction probably should be dignified. And I'm like, well, you know, we're from Wisconsin. We're not that way, so, but little do you know, I'm actually going to be a little dignified tonight, Susan. A little background about Susan Schroeder, our inductee tonight. There's so much to say about her. As a horse person, a true horse person through and through, dates back into the 70s when she was working with her dad, Laverne Adams, racing horses, grows up from the dairy barn, races horses all over Chicago, the fairs, Midwest, coast to coast. You name it, Susan's been there. In Wisconsin, she did get her first trotter of the year last year with Winsong Erica. She had trained her for Jana Simmons and Rick Titzler, and had many, many, many horses in the top 10. As a horse person, she knows what it's like to be an owner and an avid fan. She created the Bucket List Racing Stable with a horse that I got the privilege to drive, Do Me Bliss, and again, running aces with a horse called by the name of Tidbit. Brought so many new people to the business of harness racing. It's just unreal. It's unmatched. Been on the WHHA board for, now that we're in 2013, 23 consecutive years. I can't say it's almost as long as I've been alive, but close. But in her 23 years on the board, she has absolutely done it all. She's fought for racing and gaming, took horses to the Capitol Square in demonstration. She was the editor of the Wisconsin Harness News, and actually started that. Thought, you know what, this association needs a newsletter. We need communication. She took the initiative, she started, she did it. Marketing has always basically been her strong point. Kind of like the old Field of Dreams thing, you know, if you build it, they will come. She wanted people to understand, she wanted to be able to give them a reason to come back. Owners for a Day, horseshoes, grants, and you name it, she did it. I actually, when I became president, I called her my budget buster. Because if I do a budget and she said, oh, but we really need to do this. And I'm like, well, how much is this marketing idea going to cost? But sure enough, we talked about it and we had to do it because it was just a phenomenal idea. We would not have got the prestigious award of the USA Blue Ribbon Fair last year if it wasn't for her and the ideas that she brought forth for the Harness the Stars Tour and really pushed everybody to the limit. A lot of times in racing, especially here in Wisconsin, we get complacent. We get in a rut. We want to do the same things over and over, and we don't want to do anything new. But Susan's been one that's always been, we got to do something new. We can't be doing the same. We can't be doing this. And as much hard work as it is, she makes us do it, and it always turns out very, very well. She's always been an advocate for youth and racing. She started harness race horse youth camps in the state of Wisconsin. Over 1,000 kids have sat behind a racehorse at one point in their lives because of Susan. And that's pretty remarkable through the years. No task she's refused to do. We're in short of racing officials. She went and got her clerk's license. She went and got her charter's license. She went and got her judge's license. I don't think I have ever heard her say no to anything, which is pretty remarkable. She's built a pretty extensive resume. Racing's been her life. She's raced horses. She's worked for harness companies, sold pharmaceuticals. Now she's annexed to Minnesota, but she's still part of us and will always be part of Wisconsin racing. She's been the heart and soul, many times the glue that's held us together, a lot of times when we didn't think it would. So Susan, congratulations and welcome. Now Susan should have been worried. Because that was dignified. That was dignified. Have a seat.
I got it up there.
You watch any big award show, or any big Hall of Fame inductees, there's always a roast. So, I'll kick things off, trying to keep it mild. And then anybody in the room that may have a quick story, whether it be just a thank you, or something that may turn her bright red, now's the time to do it. We got a wireless mic. We'll pass it around the room. We try to keep it brief so we're not here all night because I'm sure there are stories looking around all everybody here. So one of my favorite stories of Susan, we talked about youth and racing, and she always wanted to make road trips. One time we made a power trip. The Harness Horse Youth Foundation was doing a conference in Lexington, Kentucky called Harness the Youth, or something like that, where all the organizations came together and we're just brainstorming ideas on how to bring youth into racing. I'm not sure how, but she talked me into going, along with Becky and a few other people. And so we piled up in Beloit at like 6 a.m. on a Friday, drove to Kentucky, had the conference, came home, and I think we got home like Sunday at 3 a.m., so it was about a 36-hour trip. And in that time, we hit 5 or 6 different racetracks, whether it be thoroughbred or harness. She's like, well, you know, we could go 2 hours this way, and we can go here. So that was a lot of fun. The other quick story that I have was during the slideshow, I'm going to spoil it. There's a song, Love Shack. And it's been in the slideshow many times, and we always giggle, but we're on our way home from a USA publicity conference that we went to in Columbus, Ohio. And I was with Jess and Susan in her truck, and we're driving home through Chicago. Jess is last